We're often asked how we mount our orchids and our dendrobiums, and today we'll show you just how we go about doing it. We'll show you how, why and where, and give you all the good tips and tricks to make yours as magnificent and beautiful as ours. So, welcome to the Nature Company. If this is the kind of information you're interested, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell to be notified of all our upcoming videos so that you don't miss out on all of this glory. Here we have a Dendrobium nobile variation Cooksoneana. You can see the very nice interesting shapes that these flowers produce, and we get that deep coloration both on the petals and in the lip. This was mounted onto this cabbage tree last year. We've just used these green ties to basically tie on one of the canes, but we notice here there's a very noticeable yellow coloration to these pseudobulbs. This is due to the amount of sun that it's getting. This is absolutely nothing to worry about. Invariably you'll find your Dendrobium nobiles flower better as they get more sun, and also their canes are more upright. As to when they get more shade, they grow longer, and then they start to cascade down. So you'll find when they're exposed to this much sun, they get a more compact, upright style, which is actually very attractive. Here we notice one of the other variations of the Dendrobium nobile that we've placed in a much shadier position. Also, it's well rooted on. It was placed in at the same point. Notice it's much greener, fresh green new shoots coming out, but absolutely no flowers. Also, as we go higher up, here's another one. A lot of root volume growing out. Some nice new green shoots coming out. Also a lot greener in coloration, but no flowers. This is because of the dense shade that it's getting from this tree. So we'll probably only start getting flowers after a couple of years out of this one. We do lose a lot of leaves when it's a very dry winter in this tree, so that's one of the reasons it was placed in here. But this winter, as we've told you before, we've had a little bit of those extra rains, and so we've kept the full coverage in this tree. So we're battling with our flowers this year again. This is one of our Dendrobium nobile hybrids, placed up in the top of a fork of a dead tree. This has been here for many years now, but now that it's getting the full sun, that the tree canopies died off and we've cut off the branches off the top, it's flowering magnificently. They really do love the sun. We can also see the more yellower coloration of the pseudobulbs and even the leaves. But as I said previously, this is of no detriment to the plant whatsoever. It still produces amazing flowering. So here's another one of our Dendrobium nobiles. This is probably the most common color that you'll find. It's one of the unhybridized species. Yeah, this is in quite a dense shade underneath a rather large fig tree. And we notice again this nice emerald green coloration to the leaves, the green pseudobulbs, and lots of fresh young pseudobulbs popping up from the base. But also still in this shady spot, we're still getting this magnificent flowering display. Yeah. In the basket, this is one of the ones that we're struggling with at the nursery, that was in the shady position in the basket. All the keikis that have now been produced at the ends instead of the blooms, as I stated to you before in the previous video. You can go back, have a look at it there. We'll leave a link in the description. and we've got maybe 3 flower buds here. This, because it was in the shade and in these baskets, it stayed wetter for longer, and thus producing these keikis as opposed to the flower buds. So this is one of the advantages of having them up in the trees and out in the open, is that if they do get wet for that period in winter, they can dry out a lot quicker, and they'll still give you these magnificent flowering displays, almost like no other orchid will give you. So I always love placing my nobles out in the open on trees, mounting them so that they can dry quickly when they get wet, especially during the winter periods when they're supposed to be resting. And just to show you how easily and free flowering these Dendrobiums are, even on these keikis that are a year or 2 old, they've already got flower buds. These you can just remove straight off the plant. You can either remove the whole pseudobulb with it, or you can just peel it off at the point where it's joining. It has a large root volume here already, so you don't need to worry about that. And now is the perfect time to be putting them up into the trees, either just before flowering or as it's about to start flowering, because the roots will start growing immediately, and then when your spring summer rains come, they'll be set in for that immediate growth. But these keikis, you can take them off at any time of year, and you don't have to worry about removing them while they're in flower or while they're flowering. Okay, so now when it comes to removing these keikis, we can see here where this one is joined to the node and the nice long roots it has. So all I'm basically going to do is slowly snap it away from the node. See how easy that comes off, and it's a fairly clean break generally. And there you have your keiki. So this I'll show you how to tie it on, and I'll show you another way that I do the keikis that I generally find easier to do, because it makes it easier for you to tie them onto the branches. There we go again, of course. Remember, clean sanitized equipment, essential. So what I'm going to do is follow the branch with the keikis, follow its roots. You can see the roots go quite a long way down the pseudobulb, and I can either cut the pseudobulb right in at the bottom there, or just trim it off here and hope to get a few little keikis coming off the base over there. So that's generally what I'm going to do. I'll take my secateurs, and just above the next node I'll do a nice sharp cut, and then I'll have the old pseudobulb, and this one's got 2 keikis and 1 little flower spike, and we'll just tie that to the tree. That gives me a nice long section to tie onto the branch of the tree, so it will keep it stable and it won't fall anywhere. So here we have another cabbage tree. It's got this nice texturized bark, which the orchids just love clinging onto. It gives them nice little grooves where the water's going to run. It keeps it nice and moist, gives it nice rough surface to actually cling onto well. It will also catch dying, rotting material, which will help feed the orchid. And these rich texturized barks often reduce a lot of tannins, which really help the orchid grow well and fight off disease. So we're using this cabbage tree here, that cabbage tree over there, and it's going to frame our Buddha perfectly, which we're moving up to this section over here. So we'll get on and tie on some orchids just to show you how to do it. Okay, now we have our long enough piece of twine. We're going to place our orchid, and it's so easy now. All we do is wrap our twine around the orchid, holding the pseudobulb to the trunk, and then wrap our twine around, making sure it catches the roots to hold the roots up against the bark. And we'll just go around, and around again. So as easy as that. We're not pulling too tight. We don't want to strangle the tree or the orchid. Just got to be tight enough so that the wind's not going to blow it out of position, and then just tie it off. So this is going to root beautifully on. We don't have to worry about watering this. In fact, we prefer not to. The stress helps force out new root growth. There's enough energy left in this old pseudobulb to provide it with the energy it needs to carry on growing as well as to root properly. So we're just going to allow for the spring rains to come when they're ready, and this will just take off like a bomb. So now you see how easy it is when you leave the cane on the keikis. It just gives you a larger tie-on area, so it makes it easier to do. So now with the little individual keiki that we took off, we're going to take it from the point that we removed it from the original pseudobulb. Just here, we're going to be placing that section onto the tree. That way we've got this flat root surface that's going to be touching the tree, and that will make it easy for it to root straight onto. And also your growth points are around the sides and the back and not straight into the trunk itself. So we'll just find a nice position for that. Wrapping around the roots first, holding it in position. There we go, it gives us a fairly tight, even hold. And then we can take it up and through the middle between the two canes. That will just give it the stability it needs from being blown away by the wind. And then we can wrap it around over the roots, just making sure the roots have good contact, and then we can tie it off. There we go, as easy as that. Notice I haven't put any coverings over them, I haven't had any bark, anything like that. These prefer to allow their roots to be out and open into the air so that they can dry off as quickly as they get wet. So now we have one more large piece. So with the large piece, we have a nice fork in the branches here. We can basically just place it into that fork, and we can wrap it around there. Now we can see there's very little movement. The wind's not going to blow this out of position, and it's going to grow beautifully here. So now you can see how closely we've placed all of these dendrobiums together, and you've seen how large the plants get. This is fine for these ones because they're all the same variety. They're the Cooksoneana, and they're all going to grow at the same pace and fill out, producing just one big mass. If you're planting different colors and different varieties in amongst each other, I would be slightly more careful as to the placing, as some variations grow a lot faster than the others, and we don't want ones to drown out the other ones. So then you might want to spread your spacing further apart. But here, this is going to be perfect for these. Yes, I can hear you all saying, but I don't have trees. Well, I have a solution for you too. They do well in pots. That we'll do another video on. Today is about mounting, and we'll show you how to mount on a log. No difference from a trunk of a tree. So we'll just show you how to do it quick. You can mount it on a log, on a raft, just about anything, and they do just as well as they would in a tree. Also, this makes it easier to bring it closer to you when it's flowering. You can have it in your house or just by your front door so you can see it all the time. Okay, let's get down to it and whip up another fabulous orchid. Okay, so we've got our log. All we've done is we've drilled a hole through from one side to the next, taken a piece of wire, wound it around and made a little hook that makes it easy to hook just about anywhere. And again, our keiki with attached pseudobulb, and all we're going to do is look for the back. That's going to be the back that's going to go up against the log, and there's all our nice roots. So we're going to find a nice portion of the log to put it on that is going to sit nicely. There we go. So the bend of the orchid is matching the bend of the log, and it just will make it sit better. So we don't want to put it too high to the top, because then it will just outgrow over the top, or too close to the bottom, because otherwise the same's just going to happen. Your roots are going to go nowhere. So want to place it nicely so it's looking good, because we're wanting to go around at least 3 times just to make sure it's completely secure. Wrapping it through the keikis just to ensure that you've got a good nice hold on them. Turning it over and finding a good place to tie it off. You just want to hold it secure for the first couple of months so that it can root on nicely, and then you can basically cut off your ties. And there we go. Just as easy as that. Such a beautiful little display that you can put it just about anywhere, and these flowers will last for a month. And isn't it just magnificent? Yeah, it's not me trying to make the orchid look good, it's me trying to get myself to look good, because the orchid does all the work. And it's left here to its own devices, never fed, never watered, just doing its own thing. And look at it. Couldn't ask for anything more. I wish I was that easy. And thanks for watching. If you find any of this information helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe down below, and hit that notification bell, bing bong, to be notified of any of our upcoming videos, and help us grow as we help your orchids grow. Happy gardening!